Hello my gorgeous beans and welcome back to the channel. Well, here we are. We're on the home stretch for this island and it's been a wild ride. There's only a couple things left to do, such as the top left corner of the island, a bunch of cliffs, transition areas, and the beaches. Eventually. We are so close, and that also means this will be the final episode on my channel for Azure, a Dodo Airlines summer resort island, as a collaboration between my husband Taylor and myself. And we are reaching the finish line. It's bittersweet, but it's also very exciting to see the final results. So without further ado, let's get started with our final shenanigans on Azure. Today I started by moving the house for Faith behind the plaza as our little concierge, and I skipped the day. It was raining, gross, and I started changing some of the pathing around by adding planks like so, and adding sand surrounding that for the beachy vibes before extending the roadside and continuing the line of trees and fencing towards the cliffs. I did not have a specific direction for this spot, so I just went digging for some clutter-like items and ended up with a couple boxes and other miscellaneous items to make it seem like a staff member was living here. Nice. But now it really was time for another struggle boss area. I had a plan for this weird little corner, but whether that turned out, stay tuned. First up was moving Gala's house to this little notch, skipping a day, and oh look! We have a campsite villager. Dina decided to visit us from Stellary, our Halloween island, to make sure we're doing alright, and girl... Anyway, after admiring Gala looking like an adorable little queen, I added pathing to her house, planted a couple trees, and started working on this build. The idea for this area was based on this reference, so I started with the simple panels, added the cliffs for the structure behind it, and I wasn't loving it, but I had myself convinced that I needed it, so I kept working on it. I added some trees, a little pathing here and there, a couple miscellaneous items, some more sand, and some fences for the entry. Nice. From here I added a pergola, but something still felt a little off about this build. I skipped a couple days to let the trees grow in, which did help with the vibes, but... So anyway, here's a cafe instead. I lost the footage of me building it, whoops, but I like this a lot more, and I put Boots' house on top of a cliff. So we finished one more confused ball of an area, but I knew that probably wouldn't be the last one, as from here everything that was left on the mainland was going to be pure vibes and just going with the flow of things. But we got this. I changed the archway to the cafe and it's looking so much better. From there, I extended the cliffs that Boots' house is on, and also extending the pathing and fencing a little. I added fencing around Flora's house and planted a couple trees and shrubs before adding sand pathing around her house and placing the fencing back as well. Nice. A couple items later and it's looking cozy. Then I decided it was Boots' turn again, so I planted shrubs and changed around the fencing a little bit before adding a surfboard and a little cushion while he was just standing there menacingly. Anyway, I finished the pathing all around the area and skipped a couple days for the shrubs to grow in, which adds so much nice color to the area. Yay! And with that, another area was mostly completed. I struggled getting through this area quite a bit and I felt just a little lost, but I do love how it ended up. At this point, there's only 2 villagers who still need permanent spots, but that's something we'll worry about later. For now, I ended for the day, so see you tomorrow! It's tomorrow and I'm excited to get some chisel done and tackle some of the bigger transition areas, so let's do this! Whee! First up is the ferryway area between the fake beach and the residence. Starting with the pathing here and here. I knew I wanted another little roundabout thing to connect to pathing from all 3 directions, so I started laying that out and poof! Wow. Crazy. I planted a couple trees, placed down a bunch of custom designs, and a couple items like a table, flags, another table, and some chairs before I decided to change the pathing here to a bigger blanket and adding a bamboo back wall before placing the tables back. A couple items later and I skipped a couple days to let all the flora grow in and while doing that, Static had a thought bubble and wanted to move out. Taylor and I had discussed letting Static go previously, since his house is a very jarring difference compared to everything else on the island. So we let him go. We'll miss you, Static. Anyway, where was I? Right. Everything was growing super nicely, and I decided to stunt this bamboo tree so it wouldn't obstruct the view entirely. I added some more miscellaneous custom designs before moving on to the next area. The long transition area where I started by pathing some nice sand, planted flowers, and added various other custom designs around the area here and here. This weird corner is going to be pure filler cliff sides with fencing, trees, and pathing, but at this point, brain went brr, so I left the area, did this small cliff top, added a fence here, then placed down a giant vine here, a tent and some tech on the blanket, before leaving again to add fencing here, and then I randomly started pathing sand over here with some wooden planks, which finishes the pathing of the whole island, which is cool, but wow. Okay. Anyways, this is what happens when I don't have a proper direction and I just kind of let the items in my bag guide me and just kind of go into full squirrel mode. So clearly I needed a little break and I did just that. Oh, hi there. Welcome back. With clarity, I went back to this spot and took it from this to this. Nice. A volcano, some trees, and another volcano later, and this little filler corner was done before adding back the fence, a big tree, and a little birdhouse. So now almost the entire stretch of cliffside hiking was done with help of some handheld work, and just added a sign here and seating here before transforming this corner from this into this. And just before I forgot about it, I also finished these filler cliffs. From here, I went back to Blather's tent to add some custom designs around the area to fill it up, because imagine leaving a square as just grass, right? Anyway, one blanket later, and at this point we really were getting really close to finishing the mainland of the island. Oh yeah, we also moved Patty to this area, as you can see behind me. Oopsies. But with just a couple more details left to add, I took a little snack break and sir, can I help you? Let's get back to it. I kept Blather's area pretty simple, added some torches across the bridge, a little painting spot for Gala, a menu for the cafe, and I threw down some papers and other details back at Blather's before hopping across this little slither to add some string lights and fishing gear. From here, I added a table and a tree behind Patty's house and a little parking spot for her scooter. Nice. A couple summary items later, like a sandbox, small seat, and a surfboard, and this whole area was done. It took long enough, but I adore how this turned out. It all flows together really nicely, and I couldn't be happier. And with that, the entire mainland of Azor was completed. I just want to take a second here to thank you all so much for the love shown on this project and all the lovely comments you've all left behind. I have read them all. This is our first collaborative YouTube project, and seeing your excitement has made it double exciting for us to continue working on these videos week after week. So, thank you. Truly. Anyway, now there was only one thing left to do. The dreaded beaches. I don't know what it is about the beaches, but they're so awkward, and I don't know anybody who actually enjoys decorating them. But I do have plans for them, well, half of them. So let's face our fears and oh, hi Patty, and let's get started on these dang sand pits. Starting with the bottom right corner of the island, I had this reference in mind, so I started by figuring out where I roughly wanted this to go and planted a couple coconut trees. Once I figured out where I wanted it to go, I added a stall in front of a desk for that slight height difference and plopped down some loungers before adding bamboo pathing, a seat with a life ring, and set up shop with a couple snorkels. Nice. A couple miscellaneous items later, and I added a small blanket for the surfboards to chill on, just like this. I added some rope fencing in front of the boards and scattered a couple custom designs around the area, as well as a sandcastle and a little slide heading into the water. And with that, I was pretty happy with this area actually, and just planted a couple more trees before moving onto the beach in the bottom left corner of the island, where I started with, yep, More trees and loungers. At this point, I really needed to move the last remaining houses, one of which still had static in boxes. Yeah, remember that? So, in order for me to continue to make progress, Tiller and I agreed that I could replace him myself just this once. Listen, the man's agreed, so don't come for me, okay? But first, I saved the game and switched to Tiller's profile so I could move his house to the middle beach and skip the day before switching back. It was raining, ew, but now Tiller has his permanent spot. Nice. And I decorated just a little clutter spot next to his house for now. From here, I skedaddled my little booty to the airport and flew to a Nook Mouse Island, but this weather is nasty, so, Anyway, oh my god, hi Hopkins, how crazy to see you here. Hehehehe. So we asked Hopkins from a No-No Island if he wanted to move into Azure, which was also one of the main targets I was really excited for, so yay. I flew back before skipping a day and moved Hopkins' house across the river before skipping yet another day. The weather improved and the last villager house now finally has a permanent spot on the island. Woo! From here, I pathed bamboo slats around the house and some planks towards the area before adding some fencing and turning this little corner into a nice, relaxing beachfront property that Hopkins already seems to be enjoying. With the beaches done, I changed the date back to late July so the yellow shrubs would be in bloom, and traveled back to a No-No Island to pick up some blue flowers so that I could mix them into the flowers on the island for that sweet Dodo Airlines color scheme. To do that, I just picked up a bunch of yellow flowers all around the island and replaced them with a blue one. Just like so. Nice. And with that, the entire exterior of Azure was finished. Every nook and cranny decorated, every beach, cliff and waterside all looking pretty. I decided to not drag myself through the DLC for the ability to decorate the villagers' houses, but I did decide to finish decorating our own houses. For the main reception house, I added a waiting room, a storage room, a recreation room, a break room for staff, and a bedroom for staff. As for Tiller's house, no. I turned it into a little tool shed for Tiller's part-time job as groundskeeper. But from here, there is truly nothing left for me to work on, so this island, the wonderful island of Azure, our collaborative Dodo Airlines inspired summer resort, is 100% done. However, while running around the island one last time, I came across a Miss Girl with a Thought Bubble. Our final remaining non-dreamy villager on the island finally wanted to move out. And naturally, we let her. Bye! So, of course, my love and the head of villager recruitment is joining us for the very last time. But to see the final result of who will be taking Patty's place, you will need to stay tuned in on Tiller's channel as the video for that exciting hunt will be coming out in the next couple days. That's right, no spoilers today. But with all that said, the tales of the Azure storybook have come to a close, but boy has it been an exciting journey. I was really excited to start this island, and even though it was a new theme for me and slightly out of my usual, I had so much fun working on this island and seeing the progress week after week. I am very proud of how this island turned out, and it was really fun to work together with my lovely husband for this. But don't worry, this is not the last of the Tiller and Mircea collaborative saga, so make sure you subscribe to both channels to stay tuned on all these shenanigans. And here we have Azure, a calm seaside resort with a touch of the wild nature of a jungle. When I first knew I wanted to include a so-called jungle side to this island, I had envisioned something much more overgrown, hidden, and just different. But I ended up kind of running out of space on that side of the island, so I had to slim down my ideas a lot. However, I do think what we did end up with actually works really well in contrast of the rest of the island. So in the end, happy accidents perhaps? And with that, here is the long-awaited dream address. You can see it on screen in the description box below, and I'll also be updating my card so you can find all of my dream addresses in one place. Once again, thank you all so incredibly much for the support, love, and enjoyment you have all shown for this island, and I hope you enjoyed this video just as much. If you did, feel free to leave a like and also comment what your absolutely favorite area of the final island ended up being, or what your favorite moment of this series was. I am very curious to know. Make sure you subscribe to both Taylor and myself to not miss a thing and to get the final villager hunt in a YouTube notification box near you soon. Once again, thank you all so much for watching, and make sure you all stay happy, healthy, and hydrated, and I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye!